Oh boy, I'll tell you exactly what happened.
We are rebuilding a pond inside of the Waldorf Astoria hotel that wasn't functioning properly.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Hey, what's up everybody? I'm the Pond Professor here. I am in beautiful Park City, Utah. We are standing outside of the Waldorf Astoria hotel. We have our regional event tomorrow. We are rebuilding a pond that was located right over here that wasn't functioning properly. Greg, Mark Hellman, Frank Fink, they came out ahead of time last week, did some of the demolition work to pull all that old stuff out. They started getting everything ready for the new water feature.
Out with the old, in with the new. Not just the water, but the entire thing. Just taking out all the rocks one by one. So all of this is coming out. We're gonna dump it at the dump. We're gonna resave some of the stone, making a mess. Frank, what do you think?
Really? Where do you want me to begin? It's the atypical Utah waterfall. Dump rocks with a garden hose over the top and a pump thrown near the bottom. And they call these water features out here.
Well, we're about to change it, that's for sure. Starting the area for the retaining wall, and then we're going to start digging out this area down there for the aqua blocks and building a weir flap over. That's where all the aqua blocks will grow. The liner will come up and over of a spillway, falling into the lower basin, and that will allow this to run year round, even in the wintertime. So how big is our basin going to be?
6 by 9.
By 5 feet deep?
5 feet deep.
Okay, so that's the cistern down here. 6 feet by 9 feet by 5 feet deep, and that will be plenty deep enough to keep it running in the wintertime. So there's our weir wall being built. Go right into there. It's starting to look like a pond. Got a little ledge over here you can kind of see, make out. One ledge on one side, and then it kind of ends where the waterfalls is coming in, but of course this has been the problem today, is the mud. So all of these aqua blocks that the guys are building right now will be the intake bay that will go a little bit unusual inside of the pond over this weir that we're building out of these timbers. All right, we are done with the prep. What do you think? Quite a difference, huh? All right, so everything is ready for Utah Ammonium to begin with about 30 or 40 people building the water feature. I love my job.
In between them pulling out the old pond and us getting in here today, they have had a lot of rain, which does not happen too often, but unfortunately they did. And what happened, let me show you, that area right over where they're standing, the roof right there, all the water came off, went right down into that reservoir, and it pushed our aqua blocks and everything up. Normally we would finish the aqua block section off, we would lock everything in place so that would not occur. But because this was a regional event, they did not have the time to finish that, and it's supposed to be part of the training event. It wasn't finished, and this is the outcome. Right now we are looking at most of today to pull this all apart, pump the water out, rebuild it, get it all fixed up before the event starts tomorrow. So stay tuned as we show you how to get rid of this problem so it doesn't happen to you on one of your projects. Let me give these guys a hand. All right, Brian, what is your assessment?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll tell you exactly what happened. It rained and the roof empties right here, which is underneath our liner. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a decent amount of water underneath that liner there. So we're gonna have to pull all this out. It's not that big of a deal. We've made bigger mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is a mistake, but we've made bigger ones. Oh, let's fix it.
We are in a much better position now, put everything back in place. Now we're backfilling around the perimeter with gravel to lock it in place. We have our wall over on this side, that's structural, but the only thing that's a little bit of a challenge, we're gonna have to take all of this rubber liner, flop it over this way. There's a huge cavity, there's a big hole right behind this wall, and if we were not to address that, it would pull, once you had weight inside of it, it would pull the liner down, which would compromise the entire system. So we're gonna have to flop that back and forth, which is not easy, but it's the best decision that we have, or the best the least kind of things that we have. The other thing we did, we tucked in our pump vaults inside the aqua box, so that's all nice and stabilized now. So now we're just going to keep going with river rock going all the way around the perimeter. The key is to get the proper size river rock. You can see that's 1.5 to 2 inch, which is perfect. It's large, a little bit difficult to shovel, but it doesn't go through the actual webbing of the aquablock matrix. That's going to put the aquablocks under compression, that's the key to their strength. The moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Shortly before lunch, Rox just pulled up on the job site. We got this massive dump truck over here. So what we need to do is position him along the edge because it's a side dump truck. So we're gonna pull him right up on the edge of the concrete, and then we're gonna try to dump it off on the side. We did put plywood down to protect everything, but I wanna try to get him as close as possible to this planting bed. So let's check this out.
And I think the whole overcoming obstacles is a huge part of this entire project, right?
It is. This is real world.
Well, we started off with reservoirs popping up out of the ground. Now you just found out there's no water nearby. The stone has a side dump, which is like unheard of by us. And not only is it a side dump, but it only dumps off on one side of the truck. I'm guessing at some point it's going to start snowing.
All right, the chaos is in full swing. Our rocks arrived late, but everybody kicked it in gear, and we started putting in rocks fast and furious style as usual. Started off with this back edge over here. I love this craggy look back over on this side. A couple big anchor rocks, which is going to transition up into that waterfall. We have some of this deadfall going down inside. We're going to get some aquatic vegetation in those little backwater areas, some little slide areas. Brian's trying to transition this section into our intake bay. We have this big peninsula that plotted out over here. We backfilled behind it, but then we cut in hard on the backside to create a little backwater area. Rock sticking out here is kind of like a little island type of a piece, and then we carved in a little bit more this side.
Somebody was asking what do I think of the rock. It's not my favorite color, but I love the characteristics of it. You can really match stuff up.
Yeah.
There's so many flat angles to it, so you can do some fun stuff. So really cool plant pockets, like off in the distance over there. We just load up with like creeping Jenny or forget-me-nots, whatever, you know.
We are making incredible progress on this project. The water feature's done, waterfalls are built, edging is done, beach is installed, we have the pumps are in place, everything is ready to go. So check this out, everything here is completed. The water clarity is actually impressive for actually only operating for 12 hours. So everything is working as designed. This is the area that Brian and I came in that was heaved out of the ground just a couple days ago. Greg and the team came in and removed the existing water feature. They did the excavation. They dug out the area for the intake bay, put the rubber membrane in place, put the aqua blocks in, and then all that rainwater came down right off of this corner. You can see it's actually dripping right now. Hit right here. The water went directly, and I mean directly underneath the rubber membrane, filled up that entire reservoir under the rubber liner. Because we don't have ballast on top of it, we didn't have the rock, the gravel, it wasn't backfilled properly. All of that water just heaved everything up, and those aqua blocks were floating on a waterbed. All of this water that came underneath actually saturated the entire subsoil, and when they did the excavation, they overdug everything and they recompacted it. But whenever you do that, if you don't recompact it properly, that sandy gravel clay mixture is going to become saturated with water, and it just turns to mush. So when we pulled the rubber liner out to pump out the water, we noticed that all the edges were collapsing in underneath. So we had to come in, remove everything, redig and reshape that entire area, and we had to build a wooden wall inside of this water feature. You can't even see it right now, completely disappeared with all of that stonework, but it set the proper elevation for our intake bay, and it also held back all of that soft soil from going back down inside. Pump vaults are located underneath all of this river rock. This is the area of the intake bay where any type of leaf debris, any floating material that falls inside of the pond is going to get swept inside. We have a kind of a choked down area here in the opening. This was over 8 feet wide, but you can see the actual area for the water is only about 2.5 feet wide. So we want to make sure we have a gentle flow of water coming in. We have that 5,000 to 9,000 SLD pump located inside of here, plumbing line running all the way up here to the top. All of that water has to go from there all the way back to the pump. So we're getting a gentle circulation, strong enough to bring all the debris into this particular area. Well, the other thing that I love about this is these transition zones coming in off of main viewing areas. Once we get out over here, we kind of created a few destination rocks. That's the water quality I was talking about. I mean, you can see the bottom of this already. Probably 30 or so goldfish down here on the bottom. They're going to be very, very happy in their brand new home.
So American Stone donated 5 beautiful fish. These fish are like the Jeffersons, moving on up. They're going to the Waldorf Astoria in Park City.
This back edge detail, I think, is one of the most important. The rocks over here in the foreground, nice and low, allowing even views going across the back. But the back, we want it to be a little bit more rugged. We want it to be more craggy. We want to have that fractured shoreline area. Those are those riparian zones that you know I love talking about. We didn't just want to do a massive wall of big rock back here. It still would have looked good, but I think this looks much better by having those little backwater areas. And in the future, Mark Hellman is going to come back in here and he's going to do some aquatic plantings, and these are the perfect little spots for that. They're going to get a lot of sunlight. They don't have super strong flows. Biomimicry at its finest. Fast moving water coming in. These little backwater areas, you're going to have sediments and things like that accumulating in those areas because it doesn't have a strong flow. But that's the perfect environment for plants because they're going to grow off of the sediments that are actually going to accumulate inside the gravel bed. It's going to give them the proper nutrition that they're actually looking for. So I know those plants are actually going to flourish all the way along that back edge. Large rock sticking up out of the water kind of breaks up a little bit of the circulation. In fact, you could actually see it right now. You can see some of the bubbles traveling around the backside, which is really, really important, as well as the front. So I love that circulation. I want to make sure that I'm getting that necessary velocity to move debris. Little beach area, kind of like a gravel washout, just breaks up the monotony of all the rock work. And again, like I said, I'm a geology guy. I love rocks, I love boulders, but I also like to break things up to create that diversity that we're looking for. Boulders, rocks, gravel, wood elements, all these different things are home to a wide variety of microorganisms. Biofalls getting hidden with a large stone slab going over the top. We still have access to all the filter media inside of the biofilter, which is very important. I love disguising it, but you have to make sure it is a maintainable water feature. So you have to have access to all the different filter media that's inside of the filter. Overall, I think this project has turned out phenomenally. I can't wait to get more and more feedback from the staff right here at the Waldorf Astoria. I know they're going to be thrilled with it. We actually received a message from one of the local homeowner members, and they said they are blown away by it, and they cannot wait for us to redo some of the other water features right here on this property. Stay tuned as we give you more and more water features coming directly from Park City, Utah. All right, everybody, you have a great day. We'll see you on the next project.